I've held many residencies over the years, dating back to my first significant one, which was at Cafe Mambo. Then I went on to be a resident for Cream in Liverpool and Cream in Ibiza. I was a resident at home in London. I had a residency at the End in London, which stretched for 7 years. A residency at Space in Ibiza, which I think got close to 12 years. Residency at Twilo in New York, and now my most recent residency, which is Sankey's in Ibiza. You know, I've written and produced probably around 40 singles, quite a few remixes for bigger artists like Dido, Justin Timberlake, right through to more underground labels and artists. So really, I've had quite a fruitful career spanning 22 years now, close to. For many years I've been going to Ibiza, and I always noticed a scent. Ibiza has its own scent, and I recently realised that scent is rosemary, which grows all over the island. That probably mixed with suntan lotion. I don't know, whenever you land on the tarmac at Ibiza airport, you do kind of feel as though you've landed somewhere special. I mean, for me, I always felt as though I'd landed at home. You know, it's always been a second home for me. But I don't know, Ibiza has been a home for hedonism for quite some time, going way back to before I ever went to the island, way back into the 60s, I believe. Something that only Pasha can really have say it's witnessed. But I think that Ibiza it has a special energy. It's not something that you can give a name to. It's not something that you can describe. It's just there. Ibiza has always been a place where the rest of Europe, certainly, and now the rest of the world looks to. And trends begin in Ibiza. You know, if an artist blows up in Ibiza, they are sure to blow up around the rest of the world. This has happened on numerous occasions to people like Luciano Locodice. You know, their careers may have started before Ibiza, but it was Ibiza that I believe launched them into the levels of acts that they are. And it has done it more recently with Jamie Jones, Seth Troxler, and more than likely it was what really launched my career back in the early 2000s when my residency at Space went to a whole different level on the terrace. So having this emerging Ibiza is long overdue, actually, and it is definitely something that holds great value, because really Ibiza has been quite significant in many bigger artists and DJs' careers. Hi, I'm Steve Lawler, and the first act that I nominate for Emerging Ibiza is Detlef. It's not just about the talent, it's also about the person behind. It's also about the personality. And something that I've recently learned is it's important to make sure that the person behind the talent is a nice person and someone that you think will be able to accept the challenge, and somebody that, you know, won't change as the success comes. Sometimes I sign records to my label, but I don't necessarily get behind the careers of them as DJs and artists. With Detlef and the other two artists that I nominate, there is something about them. First of all, their personality, like I said, that's really important. And secondly, they stand out. Their music and their DJing style stands out, and that's really important. This is Steve Lawler, and the second act I nominate is Anek. Anek is it's an interesting thing because they were actually an act and a duo, two ladies, two girls from Denmark, and they were previously DJing under a different name. and they found themselves having to compromise their integrity, and they really felt as though they wanted a change, and they wanted to do things their own way, and they pulled back from the previous name and started all over again, which takes a lot of courage to do something like that. And their sound, it's very difficult for me to even really identify in a genre. It's very much their own, and their enthusiasm is infectious. My name is Steve Lawler, and the third act I nominate is Zohki Roozlee. Quite an interesting thing, actually. These guys already had somewhat of a career. They previously had records out on Moon Harbour, and I was constantly playing their music in my sets, and I later found out they wasn't managed, and they needed that further push, and they needed a bigger platform to go on. So we instantly signed a release from them, and the release was the biggest track on Viva Music for the last, 3 or 4 years, and it was one of the biggest records in the summer of 2013. From this, I signed the artist straight away, and we're now in the process of developing them and developing their career, and there's a lot of people excited that they're with us. And again, they have their own sound. It's kind of old school flavour, even, dare I say it, a little bit of a hip-hop influence inside their estranged techno. And I later found out that they used to be hip-hop DJs way back. So yeah, again, something that really stood out to me, and the reason why they are my third act. Well, the most important thing is individuality. You're not going to be noticed by writing music that somebody else has already written and done really well at. You know, electronic music tends to travel in trends, and it goes full circle. And what happens, a trend, there'll be a big record by a particular artist, and that will, spur a whole new trend within music, and then a lot of people tend to write music like that track. You're not going to stand out that way. You're always going to be below the guy that stood out in the first place writing that big record. I think it's really important to have your own sound and really focus on what you're doing rather than everybody else. And also what is really important is finding a family. I think now in this day and age, it was different when I was breaking through years ago. Now it's important to be a part of an outfit, to be a part of a label, to be a part of, either ourselves, Viva Music, or Hot Creations, Cocoon, Cadenza, Vision Quest. So many people. This is what really can help you be a part of something, be a part of a sound, be a part of a movement. It's better to be amongst a group of people doing something, and they're the two biggest tips I could give to any new Virgin talent out there right now. It is important reading the crowd, and I think if you're really passionate about what you do and you really care about your performance, then you do read a crowd. You read a crowd naturally, and I never really focus on one person too much, because you're not playing to one person, you're playing to a room of people, and I focus on the energy that I feel as opposed to something that I will see. Whatever I do as a DJ, I always do it within the music that I want to play, and the style that I provide as a DJ, and I just do it the way that I would usually do it. But I choose my programming based on the style of room I'm playing or the vibe that you feel. For example, a good example is if I play in a festival and I don't know, I'm playing to 10,000 people, I will always tend to play tougher, maybe a little bit faster, harder, because that is what is going to capture the energy in that audience. If you go on and play too deep and too slow, you're going to lose the energy in the room. And that's where it comes into reading a crowd. That's where I care. I don't want to go there and bomb my show and give the audience a bad time. I want to go there and deliver and give the audience a great time, but within my integrity. Hi, I'm Steve Lawler. We're here at the emerging Ibiza Festival, and I'm shortly about to go on and play up on the tower. Ibiza's, there's a certain magic on this island. I think everyone that's come to Ibiza has experienced it, and that's why Ibiza has grown so much in the last 25 years. Everyone that comes here experiences this magic. And that as well. The planes going above you. The outdoor parties, like now the party on the tower, it's outdoors. I don't know, Ibiza's always been a special place, and it always will be, and it will be an epicenter for music because it's always been about music. First and foremost, the reason why I chose these artists, the most important thing to me when I'm signing artists to the label and to the management company, I mean, there's a lot of people that give us music and that would love to be a part of what we do, and we feel honoured by that because we believe in what we do, and we are really passionate about music. The reason why we chose these artists is not just because they have a certain level of quality that we recognise, but also because they are doing something that is a little bit unique to themselves. The first time I heard Zohki and Roozlee play and the tracks that they sent me, there was a certain flavour to their music that I hadn't been sent by anybody else. And I get so much music sent to me every week, and sometimes 100 tracks can sound like one. It's the ones that stand out from the rest that get my attention, and their music did. And with Anek as well, their music stood out. But I guess with Zohki and Roozlee as producers, they stood out to me more, and with Anek as DJs, you'll see, you see them play here and you'll see them play at Warriors throughout the season. They're really exciting to listen to and to watch. I mean, they're great DJs, they really are. And that for me was something that was more than the norm. So that's why I feel honoured to have them a part of our family, I guess. Detlef's been around for a long time, and he's produced under a lot of different disguises, and I mean, he's so talented. He's such a talented producer and such an amazing DJ. And one of the things that is a running theme throughout all the artists, with the girls, Anek, Detlef and Zohki and Roozlee, is they're really a pleasure to work with. They're really nice people. They're really enthusiastic. And I get inspiration from them, actually. Now, doing this for a long time, when I work with artists like this, it makes me feel really hungry because they're so hungry and they're so, their zest for this whole scene is so fresh, and I love working with that. I'm a DJ, and if you're a DJ, then you love music. I don't just love a particular kind of music, I love music. Music touches me in a certain way, and I've been a DJ for 25 years, and I've done this because it's not just about me loving music. I love to share music. I love to, use music as a medium to make life better, to make me happier, to make people that come to my shows happier, and and for those few hours enjoy and leave all their baggage at the door, sort of thing. And new excites me. And if it didn't excite me, if I was still playing the same music I was playing 25 years, I'd be bored of me, let alone anybody else. I do believe my style has stayed the same because my style is my taste, and my taste hasn't changed. I still look for the same elements in music. I still get excited by the same elements in music and the same sort of message that is in that music. But of course, music changes over the years because technology changes and producers have changed. So, you know, I move with what excites me, and I don't DJ for a career. My career as a DJ is a bonus to me. I DJ because I love music, I love displaying music, I love talking about music, I love putting music out on a label, and I love sharing music, I love performing and playing music, I love making music. That's why I'm a DJ.